Come on, everybody, let's start the show. A quick ahoy hoy and away we'll go. Richard's got a minifig and Flynn's got a pin. The gang's all here and it's time to begin. Tricky Bricks roll call. Moto, Holly, Kara, and sometimes Blair, Clicky, Logan, Ms. Thing and Angela, and Thunderman Ho! Now you're here to grab your bricks and let's go to the Tricky Bricks Build and Chat Show! Ahoy, hoy, friends!
Ahoy, hoy. That was a short few minutes, right?
Kicking it off with technical difficulties.
That was pretty mild technical difficulty, all in all. I just saw for the first time at the end of that animation, Minifig chick tips her hair off.
Yeah, it's, every time I see that, I still see some new thing that I didn't see before. And I've seen it a lot.
Oh, hey.
I still see cool stuff.
I'm all casual today. Look, I'm wearing a t-shirt. I didn't even realize.
I know. What's going on? Oh my goodness. Hey, Cy O'Connor's here. Hey, how's it going? I see Lego Door and Hooded One and Johnny Cat as well. Hello, everyone. Great to see you. So
it's Sunday morning.
It is Sunday
morning. We've been up for hours already.
Hours. Cleaning and doing things and house stuff. And can I just tell you how happy that makes me?
Oh, I thought you meant me. You mean Bonaby the third.
That too.
Bonaby the third.
It is Bonaby the third. And we forgot to move the table. We were like all a mess today. So anyway,
Bonaby the second is nowhere to be seen, but we'll bring out Bonaby the first before the end of the month.
Yeah, I dare say. I dare say he'll make an
appearance.
They'll
be joining us on the set.
So, golly, it's Sunday. We have, it's our group chat day. I always love these days. It's so fun to sit around and hang out and just like talk about random Lego stuff. And we also have a special guest. So let's start bringing on our panelists for today.
All right.
Now I know
coffee clutch.
We're actually going to have a full house today, but some people are coming a little bit throughout the show, so people will be arriving as we go.
But I know who's coming at the door.
But for right now, from across the bay, we've got the lovely Minifig chick. Hi, Kara.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi, Kara.
I'm flying it on a rocket. I'm missing my camera.
Oh my goodness! It's Sunday, and we're gonna see each other later, which I'm very excited about.
You're wearing Lego earrings.
Are those of your own design? I expect
they are, of course.
Very nice. Oh,
yay, with little vintage wheels.
Nice. All right. And you know what? I should probably do that. That's much fun.
Oh, hi.
So I mean, I know this much of our faces is probably better off, but might as well see the whole thing. So, and now joining us from sort of the middle-ish part of the country, sort of, kind of, it's Moto. Hi, Moto.
Hi, Moto.
Greetings from the middle-ish part of the country, even though that's Kansas. Technically, it's further east, but close enough.
I am,
middler than here.
I am geographically challenged, so
I've been to the geographic center of the continental U.S.
I bet you have.
In the middle of Kansas, in the middle of nowhere, you drive out there, and there's a little marker, and you take a picture, and there's a stray dog wandering around that you pet, and then you take off.
I dare say you've been to Four Corners as well.
Yeah, although it's not accurate anymore. So if you use your GPS, you'll wind up in there's a place you can't get to. But yeah, the marker is still there.
I think Chris Chalice and Jaden might appreciate that as well. Because if I'm not mistaken, they've been to 3 of the 4 cardinal direction extents of the UK.
Wow, very cool.
North, east, and south. I don't remember which of the 3.
Well, continuing on.
No, I'm going to go down rabbit holes interminably.
While people sit in the green room.
Yay!
All right. So,
oh, my goodness.
From up north a little ways, it's Holly. Hi, Holly.
Hey, Holly. Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
And now, now you're going to see that these intros have all just been a big setup for this.
Yeah.
And now, joining us from the future, where it is 6 a.m. Monday, we have Dan from Between the Bricks. Hi, Dan.
Hey, everyone. How you going?
Hi, Dan. I don't think
is
we've met
commitment.
before. Nice
No,
to
we
meet you.
haven't.
I'm going to
No, nice
squish
to meet
in
you
so we can
too.
do this. There we go.
Cool.
Good to see you, Dan.
Thanks for
How's it
having me.
going on? How's Monday?
At the moment,
Really?
still dark, a bit chilly, and but I think it's shaping up for a good one. Can I just say off the bat? That intro that you guys run is it's single-handedly the best intro I've ever seen on any podcast or on any show whatsoever, either between Twitch, YouTube, whatever. It's brilliant. I loved it.
Oh,
Yay,
thank you, Dan.
awesome.
That's so nice. Yeah, and actually, the credit for that has to go to Yano River Blue, who did all of that for us. I did write and
you as
sing
well?
the song,
Yeah.
and Yano joined me on the song as well. But she did all the animations and got it all set up. She's amazing. So I will, if she's not here, I will be sure to send along your compliments. Hey,
She's
April
not
is
here.
here. Hey, another raid train. So that's how I know Dan the most, is from the raid train that we do together, even though his portion of it is on so late that it's a little difficult for me to hop on that car, I must say.
Literally the middle of your night. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I seeing? I'm seeing Orthanc behind you, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right behind your head there.
Very nice.
One of my favorite sets ever. And this one here is what got me back into Lego in the first place as an adult.
It's like the one chip I'm
this-
still missing.
Is
Pirate
that
Ship
the,
Ambush.
is it the Black Pearl?
No,
No,
it's
it's Pirate Ship Ambush from Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I can.
I waited and waited for it to go on discount and never could swipe it up. Same thing with
Oh.
Orthanc, but at least Orthanc I was able to find at a Bricks and Minifigs. So I still scored that one, but that ship still hasn't shown up within like my allowable budget.
Yeah,
It
I
is
actually
failed.
got that on sale.
Nice.
And that's what got me back into buying Lego for myself as an adult, was purchasing that. Then it just opened a floodgate. But then I had to go back and get all of the other Lord of the Rings stuff, which was all gone by that stage.
Oh no.
Because I'm a
Oh.
huge Lord of the Rings fan. So I had to hunt down all of the original Lord of the Rings stuff.
Yeah.
And I did. I got it all eventually.
Backwards for me. I had all of the Lord of the Rings stuff except for that stupid ship.
Oh no. Oh no. If I knew it was
Totally
going
me.
to taunt you, I would have put it away. Put it away.
You've got like spooky Lego adventure feeling behind you. Like some people are bright purples and and bright greens. You've got somber, adventurous, pointy colors behind you.
Yeah. And it's dark back there. I really haven't lit that area back there very well. I do have a light that's straight up above that shelf, but it's I think it's a halogen light, and it has that awful you get that awful wavy motion through because it runs at however many hertz they run at.
Oh, right.
And I can't get rid of it, no matter, even if I change the hertz or anti-flicker on the software, it doesn't work for that light. So one day,
Your
one
set
day.
looks great.
So
Thank you very much.
It's interesting that y'all would talk about ships, because I think that everybody remembers their first ship, like the first ship that they got, and ours was the Brick Bounty, which was gifted to us by a friend early on when we very, very first started
And it was
collecting.
impossibly huge. We'd never seen any Legos so big.
I know, it seemed so giant at the time.
Let's
And
see.
now we have
I'm
stuff
not sure that I remember my first, because I feel like I've had some form of ships, even if they were small ones, even when I was a kid. But my most memorable purchase, and it was fairly early in my Lego, like adult Lego collecting era, was I found a killer deal on Craigslist, $100 for the Black Pearl and the Queen Anne's Revenge,
Whoa.
with all the minifigs and manuals,
Oh,
totally complete, intact, like
Sweet.
$100 for both. And I had to skip out on a martial arts class. Actually, I was like sitting in the parking lot about to go into my martial arts class and saw that post, and I was like on my way.
You should get a new like Lego belt for that one. Like the,
Right.
A new patch for your sash.
Yeah.
I think we need to. I think that could be the next big thing. I'm gonna start making patches, and people can have like AFOL sashes that they can like get their achievement badges for like certain things.
Yeah.
You know,
I love it.
Moto gets the Goodwill sash. He always finds the best like Goodwill
Seriously.
scores. Yeah.
Oh, super Goodwill scores.
He's a
I
whiz.
have a presentation on that for my lug, like where to go, the exact stores, and then how to target them and snipe them. Yeah.
What was your okay? So, what's your first big Lego purchase memory, Moto? I almost called you Lego. Moto, what is your
Big Lego purchase? Big Lego purchase?
like when you first started collecting the first like big thing that you bought that you were like, oh wow, I'm in it now.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
one.
probably the Tower of Orthac here.
Wow.
Okay, so no, nice.
So that's the reason
Theme.
I was able to get it out so quickly is I have it kind of sitting next to the guest bedroom bed, kind of on a table, and it's really dusty, but yeah, this thing is massive. My first ship. I have my very first memorable Lego set is a ship that you float in the bathtub.
Oh, glitch. Glitching.
Storm at seas.
Stormy seas ahead.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh, you're back. Hi.
Oh, I'm back. Hi.
Yes.
Yeah, you bet.
So you were talking about your ship that floats in the bathtub, and then it kind of got a little weird from there.
Yeah, and I have right over there. But the first pirate ship I had was Black Sea's Barracuda, because I was going through and storing kind of the original, first run flagship sets of major themes. So that was the one for me.
So we are going to say hi to everybody in the chat in a minute. Make sure and populate that list so I can get your name on there. It's
Yano is here.
And Yano is here. Yano showed up.
Brought her out of
Did
the-
someone say
out of-
pirates? Ahoy, hoy. Indeed. Yano, definitely go back and watch the beginning of the show because Dan had high compliments, high review for your animation. So,
Yep.
And you'll get to see another one later, Dan, because there's we have several that Yano did for us for the show. So,
Oh, nice. I can't wait.
pretty good. All right, so Kara, what about you? First ship or like first major Lego purchase where you said, okay, this is it. I'm in now.
Wow. It might have been the Monster Fighters Haunted Mansion.
Oh,
that's a good one.
yes, nice
Yeah.
one.
Mine's boring. Mine would be like probably like one of the early Star Wars, 90s Star Wars sets is probably because I was in college at that time and I was studying, going into a visual effects career. So for some reason, those really screamed out to me, but I was broke. I was a broke college student. So I got, like one a year and I can't even remember what the first one I bought was. Isn't that terrible? I feel like it was it was the TIE bomber. It might have been Darth Vader's TIE bomber. Maybe something like that.
I remember we got a big bag of leaves. That was one of our first, big bulk things. I was like, now we can make plants. This is awesome.
Yeah, and then doors and windows was the next one. Like I went on eBay and bought like somebody just had a bunch of doors and windows because we fancied we wanted to make buildings.
Yeah.
Yep.
And look at you now.
Now we have lots of doors and windows
Yeah.
and boxes. So
Let's say hi to everyone.
yeah, let's say hi to everybody in the chat who is here today. We've got Apples is here from Europe. Hey, how's it going? Brickaroo Bonsai. Chris, wear the binoculars, iceberg ahead, chalice, indeed. David Wilkie is here. Diana Snodgrass. Joel Pokeball, Dameron Marbella. Johnny Cat. Hey, Johnny. Lisa Head is here. Yano River Blue. Matthew Builds Bricks. Minifig Chick. Monica Berry, and Moto. Patrick Wismer is here. I mean, kind of is the Patrick Wismer, really. We've got Rob Zaccardi and the Zaccardis, award-winning Rob Zaccardi.
Yep.
Nice.
Yes,
Wow.
just won an award. Can you You saw it. You told me what it was.
It was Micro. Was it a Micro museum?
That's Micro
Let us
Philly.
know. Yes.
That's Micro thing from Philadelphia. Awesome. Shy Time is my time is here. Hey, Shy, how's it going? Cy O'Connor, Spud Hill Farm, the Hornburgers, ahoy, hoy, Hornburgers, and Wyatt Builds. And, of course, bonsoir to Wilfred, wherever you may be, and Zarachino, Cam.
Zarachino.
We will never say it the same.
No, we get it backwards. It's parenthetical.
Every time. Like we're, I don't know, 300 and something episodes in and still. Sorry. So it's time for pins. It's that time. I am super excited about mine today, but that is, and if you, which is appropriate, and if you saw the show on Friday, then you probably already know what it is. But
Blair's here too.
Yay, Blair is here.
Hi, Blair.
Well, we got special viewer mail, right? We got special viewer mail from the
Hornburgers, and so yeah, we've got
so
things from them today. But Kara, why don't you start us off?
So I'm hanging on to summer with my mini hippie chick.
Right on.
Very cool. I've never seen that. The shoes are special.
They're crazy, right?
Nice. Oh my goodness. All right, Holly.
Castle of Grayskull, y'all.
Oh, Castle Grayskull. Nice.
Ooh, wow.
Who's that? Who's the designer of that?
That is Night Cake in LA.
Oh, very nice. All right, Moto.
I found this thing organizing my garage, and I don't know where it came from. It has no backing, but maybe you guys can tell me what the heck that is.
Whoa,
It's like
cool.
Speed Racer.
It's
Speed
an
Racer.
awesome race car.
I have no idea though. Why?
Or Speed Racer knockoff, I should say.
Well,
Because it's got a fleur-de-lis on the, it's like a fleur-de-lis on the front and
Yeah, it's French Speed Racer.
So
Yeah.
it's not a Boy Scouts patch, is it?
no. Whoa, wait.
Right?
That maybe it's a Pinewood Derby patch because that is that
maybe.
does look just like the fleur-de-lis. I mean, they didn't have that when I was doing the Pinewood Derby, but that would fit.
So I'm gonna start Googling. Yeah, you guys
That's
give me
cool.
some good search terms. So I knew the mystery would be solved.
Oh yeah, Google
on the
Eye
Tricky
could
Bricks.
identify that, I bet.
Yeah, I bet. Google Lens. Yeah,
Google Lens.
That might do. But I'm gonna place my money on Pinewood Derby, Boy Scout patch. Dan, have you got anything? I know I told you a little. I'm not sure if you have something or not.
Oh, it is.
Well, I don't
Yes.
have any on me.
Okay.
It is Pinewood Derby.
Yeah, it's a Boy Scout Club embroidered Pinewood Derby emblem.
Oh,
Yes.
awesome.
See, I should have put money on it.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
You did?
Flynn coming clutch.
So nothing on you. That's cool. All right, we've got
I like Monica Berry called it French
Bless.
Speed Racer.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
okay,
well,
here we
I
go.
have one
All right. Let's see if Clicky's on the job today. Okay.
from the Hornburgers right there. Shine, because I'm a lighting designer.
I love that. It's
Love
so
it.
cute. And I have my
Yeah.
Doug pin from the Hornburgers. And I got to figure out how I'm feeling today.
I don't know. You seem kind of like that to me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I kind of like this one.
Yes.
I kind of feeling that. I feel that a lot of days. I'll keep that one for now. And Clicky can go
Thanks,
back.
Clicky.
Thanks, Clicky. Awesome. Now I got to attach it. More and more of these pins that I get now have like two pins, like like two things on the
Yeah,
back of them.
exactly. This one does too.
And then I'm always afraid it's going to start weighing me down. It's gonna...
It's going to restrict your range of motion.
Oi. So yeah, no, not too bad. Not too bad. So Dan, I'm sorry, I'm still putting this on. I'm curious, how did you get into the whole streaming thing? Because you've been doing it for a little while now.
I have, yeah. There's a story, yeah, there sure is.
Here's
I
the
just want to.
story.
I've got a quick pin story though. So
Oh,
I
okay.
don't.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, big screen and
Yep.
everything. I
Guys.
don't feel like pins are a big thing in New Zealand.
Okay.
Certainly not around anything that I sort of involved with. But I went to Rio in 2016 for the Paralympic Games, and I worked over there as a doping control officer. And the pin swapping thing was huge. That was really part of the Olympic culture. So I had no idea about this when I first went over there. So I grabbed some pins. They had some made for the doping control staff to swap. And then I went over to the Team New Zealand base and grabbed some Kiwi pins and swapped some of those. So I actually do have a pin collection just from the Rio Paralympic Games. But I couldn't find it this morning when I got up. So if I ever get an invite back, I'll make sure that I find those pins and I'll show you my favorite pins out of that collection.
I'm not sure,
Awesome.
Flynn.
Very
I
good.
think he's getting an invite back.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I have to invite him back, right?
That's a
Yeah,
smart,
you know,
that's a
that was my
Nicely
little hot
played.
Now
smart
I've got
strategy. Smart strategy.
Yeah.
big brain stuff. So I guess my origin story with streaming. If I start right back at the very beginning, I guess I founded a lug here in Wellington. And it's, it became an R lug, a recognized Lego user group. And that was probably that'd be coming up 7 or 8 years ago now. And I was the president and the ambassador for that lug for 5 years. And we got it established and we got it running. We did a lot of shows, did a lot of work with that. And I really loved it. And then in late 2018, I think it was 2018, I had a bit of a mental health crisis. I've worked in frontline healthcare my whole life, either as a paramedic. I joined the army at 17. The last sort of 10 years prior to this, I'd worked for myself, coming out of working for a laboratory. I was working for myself doing drug testing and environmental testing and things like that. And I had this sort of just trigger incident, and I didn't know what was happening at the time. And my brain decided that it wanted to literally just melt down, lost all confidence, didn't leave my house for, a couple of months, didn't know what was going on, couldn't function, couldn't concentrate, just everything just turned to a mess, basically. And during that time, I'd sort of just stepping away from the lug, and I didn't want to lose Lego, and I didn't want to lose contact with my friends. And so what I did was I started streaming on Facebook Live, and I'd tell a few friends that I was going to be, streaming or whatever, just building some Lego, and people would come and chat. And, that's how I sort of kept up my level of communication with those that were close to me. And that kind of graduated from there. There was a guy from Twitch. His name was Dirk Plug, who's from he's from Europe. I forget now. I think he's from Amsterdam, actually. And he said, "Hey, have you ever heard of the brick building community on Twitch? Did you know there's people that actually stream Lego stuff on Twitch?" And I never heard of Twitch either. So, it's like, on what now? I'd kind of heard of it, but Twitch really, I thought it was just for gamers and things, as most people do. And so I'd been streaming on Facebook for a fair few months, and I had a small audience there with me. I'd also created, previous to that, I'd created a group for New Zealand fans of Lego on Facebook, which was quite large as well. And eventually I sort of went over to Twitch and had a look. And, back then, the sort of the original people that streamed on Twitch, as far as I'm aware, were people like Brick and Nick and Set to Build and Parky Bricks, MLG Pro Lawyer back in those days. So there was only a handful of people that were streaming there at the time. So, sort of had a chat with some of those guys, started streaming there, and it became a regular thing. And just sort of realized that, the actual streaming and the Lego and the interaction with all of these people online and growing this community had become part of my therapy at that time, which I didn't really realize until sort of like this past year, because this has been dragging on for 3 years now.
Yeah.
But it's just this past year I've realized that actually, that has all been, part of my therapy and you go to a therapist, and I go to the doctors, and I do all of these things for, I'm supported by Veterans Affairs, so I'm pretty lucky in that sense. And yeah, you just realize how important the Lego side of it became. And after doing that for a wee while, about a year or so, I decided I'd throw my hat in the RLFM ring and see what happened there with Lego. And it was a bit of a cheeky application, if I'm being honest. It really was. I had a very, very small community at that time, and I thought, you don't know if you don't ask, right?
Yeah.
So tongue in cheek, I threw in an application, and lo and behold, they accepted it. And to be fair, and I tell the story all the time, I didn't expect them to accept it, because at that stage I had a very small audience, and traditionally, to get into the LAN, you had to have a big audience. People, YouTube channels that had tens of thousands of subscribers, and blogs that had hundreds of thousands of hits, and all of this sort of stuff. And here I am, this little, live streamer on Twitch.
Yeah, but you were in New Zealand, so ratio wise.
Right, that's it. Now, there's my luck, is that I happen to be in a country that doesn't have any other RLFM. Yes. So that worked in my favor, I think. Yeah. And the other thing that worked in my favor was at that time they were looking for alternative methods of communication. And I kind of knew this because I'd already been an ambassador with the Lug, and I'd been to a few meetings and even been to Sydney for the Lug ambassadors meeting over there. And I knew that what sort of things they were looking for in the future. So kind of just put those things in place. I still didn't genuinely think that I would be accepted as an RLFM with my tiny audience at the time. But they did. And, I got some grief for it. I actually got quite a bit of grief from other LAN members that don't think that I deserve to be there. Not to mention other people outside of LAN that were like, how is this possible for you to get it? And I got declined and blah, blah, blah. And, so for quite some time, I questioned my own value and worth within the LAN. And unfortunately, what's sad about that is that has continued with other what I call micro influencers that have been accepted into the LAN afterwards as well. So the fact of the matter is I think we've all got our own way of communicating with our communities. And you're right, Holly. We have different demographics that Lego are trying to reach, and if you happen to be the one in that demographic, then so be it. Good luck, good on you, and
Well, I mean, I would say we're kind of in that same. We're in sort of that same boat as well. I mean, like, yes, I know that like being on Lego Masters was like a boost. That was definitely like a check mark in our favor, I'm sure. But I think being a gay married couple doing a Lego show with some sort of
gay.
Wait, you're gay? I'm sure that was another. That was an audience, and I'm just so glad that they seem to be focusing more now on like quality of community rather than pure numbers. I mean, yes, the numbers are
quality
still
over quantity, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think that's so important, and it's interesting too. I mean, I've been on a much shorter timeline than you, Dan, but definitely this show itself came out of like my difficulty dealing with COVID lockdown. Like I was working a job that I loved, teaching kids, Lego STEM stuff, and that was like one of those things I'd always wanted to do, and I was so thrilled to be doing it. And then, of course, like as soon as the schools closed down and lockdown happened, and I'm a fairly social person,
as in very.
Yes, and very. Yeah. So I had a really, really difficult time with that, and was very, very depressed. And I'll say there were even some days of doing this show where it was just a struggle to get there, like a struggle to turn the computer on and go, okay, we've committed to doing this, so we're gonna do this.
I would always point out how fortunate it was that luckily I was always a train car behind Flynn or ahead of on the roller coaster.
Yes.
So we'd have those days where, like, when I was down here, luckily he usually up here, and then when he was down here, I was up here. So he would like call each other like at those different highs and lows, to kind of keep us going. Yeah.
I feel like the camera helped actually, because I felt like I had to get myself together.
Yeah.
Yeah. To the degree that I do.
Yeah.
And I sort of,
as good as it gets, y'all.
The show must go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. There is definitely an element to that, but then also just the creation of the community like that happened around it, and how everybody kind of came together in a very, very difficult period was extremely helpful for my personal mental health. So I totally get it.
Yeah, I can't put it into words how helpful the community's been for me to be able to push forward and move on. And I know in the early days, there were days where I did the opposite to what you did, and I didn't put on a brave face and I didn't hit the go live button. There was days where I was just like, sorry, I can't do it. And and I would shy away from it. But, I think one of the most important things, or one of the best relationships that I've created through all of this was with April B., who probably won't mind me speaking. She also has, she's spoken about it live on stream. She has her own mental health struggles as well. And we're like you, I guess, Holly and Flynn. If you're having an up day and a down day, that's us, and that's what we do. And we've done, so I know exactly where you're coming from. And we've done the same. We've pushed each other. We've supported each other. I think we've cried with each other. We've been extremely happy with, other things that have happened, like when April became an RLFM, and, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad. And I think you really need that. You need that thing, that person, that something to push you and drive you. And, the community has done that for me. I've helped, because I started the Wellington Lego user group. When I first started that group, the lug, there was only 2 other lugs in New Zealand at the time, and they were both very insular, and they'd been going probably 5 years each. And I found it a real struggle trying to get Well Lug going, because no one would share any information. So when I started Well Lug, I was very transparent about it, and I was also very transparent about the support that the lug got from the Lego group, because as you know, being an RLFM, you get support from Lego. It's the same for the lugs. And funnily enough, the other 2 groups, when I did that, their membership realized that they get support that they didn't know about. So that created a bit of issue. So on one side of the fence, I was the bad guy because I'd called out these, practices of other groups. And on the other side, I was the hero because I had, made it, possible for people to realize what they were missing out on and what was happening behind closed doors. So because of that, several other groups around the country all approached me to help them start their lugs or just give them advice and stuff. So I did, and I gave it freely always. And then I started getting invited to their shows and things like that. So I traveled the country, and in 2019, I went to 13 shows around New Zealand.
Wow.
I know.
Dang, dude.
I know. And it's crazy because we have now.
Is your middle name Abner?
Yeah.
No, not quite. But
That's a weekend for Abner.
I didn't have anything else to do. So yeah, I went to 13 shows, and I know a lot of the community here physically. I've met most of the people that are in the lugs around the country. I go to the shows, I promote the shows and make videos on the shows sometimes. And that just sort of became my position. And then eventually, when the RLFM thing happened, that's become my role, I guess, within just the New Zealand physical community is being that source of information from the Lego group, from anything, I guess. And that's that's where I've taken it on. And then, recently this year, I had a bit of just very, very recently, I had an identity crisis around where my place was even on Twitch. Because as you know, like Twitch has exploded in the last 18 months.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, because of COVID. Well, YouTube probably has as well.
Just in general, I think.
Well, yeah, because people are at home, they got time on their hands. They want to either consume or create content. And I sort of felt like on Twitch, I did feel like that I was being left behind in a sense, because the new streamers were coming in with really good ideas and exploding onto the scene with good viewership, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? It's like, actually, I had to sit back and think about it. I had to reach out, talk to some friends, talk to April, talk to Brian Saviano, who I'm sure everybody knows. He's for a young man, that man is very, very intelligent, knowledgeable, and mature for his age, I have to say.
I agree.
I've got a lot of time for Brian.
Yeah, same. I'm hoping we're actually going to be on the East Coast next month, or actually at the end of this month, to visit my folks, and so hoping to set up a time to hang out with Brian.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'd love to hang out with Brian. I think he'd be awesome. But yeah, and I spoke to him because he's very driven in his content creation, and he's very he's got a lot of ideas. And he just said to me, "Why did you start this all in the first place?" And it was like, well, it was when I had my mental health breakdown and was diagnosed with PTSD and needed a way to communicate. And he's like, and you've always fostered that. And I've always been open about it. So that's basically what I've done now, is I've sort of gone back to being that space where, and I know there's a lot of people that have mental health issues and talk about it, but I make a point of making sure that my space is safe for talking about mental health. Got a tool there for people to be able to acknowledge how they're feeling, and then we can start a conversation around it if they want to. And it doesn't matter whether they're feeling great, we can talk about that, or if they're feeling crap, we can talk about that. And it's actually working really, really well, and I'm comfortable with that, and now comfortable within my position with my own stream. And I think that's what's important, is just do what you want to do for you. Forget about what everyone else is doing. And, it's one of those things that you kind of get really, really hung up on in the social media space, is this whole rat race, trying to get ahead, trying to get more, trying to get this. And I don't think I've come to the conclusion, what? None of that matters. Yeah. What matters is that you're here doing this today, having fun, chatting with some friends,
It's funny. I've been thinking about this whole psychodynamics of Lego. I just run the gamut between, like, I'm feeling great today, I'm going to take on the world, I'm going to rebuild this mechanic and it's going to work. And then other times it's like, my life is all sorting, I can't bear to, like this whole...
All right.
And then sometimes the sorting is exciting too. Like, that's right where I'm at. What do you think, Holly?
Like, if we take a poll and say, okay, how many of you in the last year to 2 years plus have had the urge to just burn it all and get rid of it all and just be done with it? Like, no? Like, no. Never at any given moment? Really? Okay. Because I definitely have moments where I'm just like, it's too much. Yeah. And like, I just want to be done with it and get it all out of here and burn it to the ground. So I've heard other people confide in me that they've had that same feeling, like, oh, it's too much now, it's overwhelming and I can't even like cope with it. But then it's like you give it a week and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have this cool idea, let's go play.
Definitely been there.
Well, there's always some other aspect of it. Like, if I'm not into building, I can always get some happiness out of taking apart old mocks, or just getting all the bricks off the floor. There's always something that fits my mood.
I have to constantly switch gears. I always, like, people always, I think I've said this before, but they ask you, do you prefer mocking or set building? And I always say it's whichever one I'm not doing, because when I'm in the middle of a mock and I get stressed out about it, I'm like, man, I really wish I could just sit down and zen out and build a set. And then when I'm building a set, I'm like, I feel like I should be mocking. Like, I kind of have all these ideas and I should be working on those. So, and
how about you, Moto? Do you find Lego therapeutic in some way?
Yeah, I do. And right now, I know I'm looking down a lot because I'm I shouldn't admit this on stream, but I'm gluing together the wolf model. So, but yeah,
Gotta do what you gotta do.
You heard it here first, folks.
It's now all shocked gasps aside, Moto has told me that he will display a piece and demonstrate that it can handle it before he glues it for durability.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
oh yeah, it was only because it went back over the mountain range and it wasn't great condition, great shape when I got back home. I'm like, okay, it got an award. It's been featured on stuff. I'm like, this is an art piece. It belongs in a museum.
Oh, well, there you go.
So I'm I have there
Joseph
are times-
says yes, glue gang.
Now, if you want to go on a rabbit hole and talk about how to glue properly, I could do that. But first, to answer the question, there are times when I have to take weeks off because of other stuff. Like normally the month of October is dedicated to the cosplay costume thing. So that's one pause during the year. Another pause that is happening right about now. So maybe every 3 years, my apple trees go nuts. And so for about 3 weeks, and we just started this yesterday with my son, we'll pick, I don't even know how does one describe this? So we did a wheelbarrow with the apples yesterday and juiced them. That took about 2 hours from picking to juicing. And then
That's some skill.
It's just industrial juicers, and you just sit there, and it's very mindful.
Just an industrial juicer.
And then, I have 3 because they keep turning off because I overheat them, so I keep swapping them out. But basically, you get about 5 gallons every 2 hours, and then you have to sterilize it. And then some of the juice is for my son, and then some of it is hard cider. But when I bottle it, I've got 3 years worth because I think it was like 1 year it was like 30 gallons. It was insane.
Wow. Blair is here. Hello, Blair.
But yeah,
Hello, everybody.
I just don't want the apples to go to waste. So we have apples for eating, and then all the wormy apples get juiced out. And it's a whole thing.
With or without the worms?
That's what I was wondering.
The worms will burrow in, and then they burrow out, and they leave and then the flesh will heal. So they're fine. It just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. So you juice it out and you sterilize it.
I still feel like there may be like a tiny percentage of worm that makes it in there.
Well, good. Then it's protein. So that's all. Protein for all of us.
How's it going, Blair?
Great. Just had to get my wife to work here at the Wellness Center, and I know we're going to do the thing in just a second. Thanks, Minifig Chick. But
yes.
I wanted to say I am now officially working for the Lego Group as a specialist.
Yay! That's
So,
awesome.
I just completed day 2, and to no one's surprise, I was awesome at it, and it was super fun and wonderful. I never thought I'd be working at the mall again, but it's definitely a happy place. So
That's
You're there
awesome.
with Bruce. Yeah?
I know. Will you pick me up
Yes.
a soft
I think Bruce
pretzel
is still gone.
and an orange Julius, and then I need a T-shirt from Hot Topic. So just if you get a chance on your lunch break.
Hot Topics for kids, man.
I can put all 3 of those things in a plastic bag and shake them up and send them to you.
Yes, do that. Oh my goodness.
Put a minifig in a Cinnabon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just jam it in there. So, oh my goodness. So we were just like chatting about how we've it seems collectively in some ways using Lego as therapy in multiple ways. But that's
I'm glad
right.
we circled back
right.
to that. When Dan was mentioning that, I was hoping to return to the therapeutic elements of Lego. I mean, it's been, even in before COVID times, such a wonderful way to unwind or, distract yourself from other things and dedicate yourself to such a meditative media, it can be really relaxing. I mean, it can be stressful too if it's the night before a convention and your thing's not done, but that's a whole other part of the spectrum of wonder.
I mean, like anyone would wait till the last minute.
Yeah, Holly would never wait till the last minute. Well, we will get back to your comment on this in a second, because right now we have something that's always good therapy, especially for him. It's Logan Cookie time.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
It's Logan Cookie time. Oh, no,
over here.
Center. There we go. There we go. Hi, Logan. It is Logan Cookie time.
Enter stage center. Say hi to everyone. Good boy.
Yay, Logan.
Maybe get a little one to catch. You ready?
Saying hello. Hello.
Oh, that
All
was
right.
a good one.
Good one.
Good job. And there you go.
Yay, Logan. And we have got Skittles is here.
Put it on your nose. You let me put it on your nose. You wait. Wait. She did. Good
girl.
Good girl.
Wow. She really does turn into just a Muppet when. Wait, is that a Balrog?
Nope, this is for Holly because
Yes, with the claws even.
with the proper colored claws. This is
Oh my goodness. And who have you got there, Dan?
This is Smudge. Oh, hello. Mwah.
Oh.
Smudge is a English Springer Cocker Spaniel cross, and so she started out life as a drug detector dog, and that's what I did that work for a while, and then I left that work, and she by default ended up becoming my mental health support dog, and she actually came with me to all of my therapy sessions for the better part of 18 months. And somehow or other, just by default, she learned when I was anxious, she would come and lick my hand. So, yeah, absolute.
Oh, that's awesome.
Absolute gem of a dog. Saved my life, essentially, because I used to take her with me everywhere that I went as well. Which meant that I had somebody in the car, in the car with me. So yeah.
Then it has officially been a Rancor Skittles Smudge Logan Cookie time.
Now that's a sense I never thought I would hear.
I know. It worked though. It totally worked. So Blair, sorry, did you back to what you were talking about, your Lego as therapy story?
It's just so fantastic. I really got back into Lego when I was going to art school out here in Portland, and I was struggling because so many artistic media were toxic and or wasteful or expensive, and I liked the idea of returning to sort of my roots of creativity with a medium that is essentially forever usable, unless you glue it, obviously, which under certain circumstances is totally appropriate. But
I'm so sorry.
Hey, I'm living with a life-sized clone trooper in the store now. It's totally glued together. I found out it has a whole bunch of secret compartments in it though, which is super cool, and kids like to see those. But a medium that is sustainable, not necessarily in its production up until this point, but in its usefulness. Every single brick is still usable as long as it's not broken, and even then sometimes it's usable. And if you build something and you don't like it and you change it, like you didn't waste tubes of paint, you didn't inhale a bunch of fumes unnecessarily, you didn't have to use reams and reams and reams of paper to get your idea to where you want it to be. That's what I think is so awesome about it, because it's not only an awesome medium in that way, it's parallel with the therapeutic properties of Lego in that, like, no mistake is permanent, right? So you can always change, you can always evolve, and so can your mocks. And that's what's so cool about it, is like you can return to something at any time and make it better.
Yeah, just to interject there, sorry, brother. That's a really good point. It's like a strong case that I make for all kids really needing to play with Lego and having that experience of their stuff falling apart. Like, you know, I've been one of those people that's taught camps and classes, and that's like, it's really brilliant to see them get so frustrated and upset when what they're trying to put together falls apart, because that's the lesson, is the trial and error of like problem solving and troubleshooting it. And then, you know, they have that opportunity to try it again, you know, to learn from it and try it again. I think that's just like that's what I think what makes it the best toy for kids, honestly.
Isn't it Corey that always says try before you cry?
It's Mel.
Yes.
That's Mel.
Oh, is it Mel?
Yeah.
No, I thought he was, when he used to teach at Playwell, he would say try before you cry.
But Mel uses it too, because we
Got it,
taught
yeah.
camps together, and he always says that too. So
Yes.
maybe he could have stolen that from Corey. I wouldn't.
It's a good one.
Adopted.
It's a good motto. Yeah.
Adopted it from
And, you know, like
Corey.
Flynn, I went through the exact same scenario as Flynn as we all started this out. Was, you know, my business, my go-to, my interaction with the public, my hanging out with hundreds of kids in the Tri-County Library Circuit was decimated. And before anyone else's jobs started to disappear too. So we were sort of the first wave of like,
early cutting.
you know, employment, and it was all Lego that was taken from us. It was so much interaction that we lost out on. So to have this family come together was magnificent, you know, and so therapeutic, and the community that we built was it was amazing. I mean, it saved our lives in so many ways that we can't even necessarily quantify.
You know what's funny is, on the flip side, is my teaching opportunities actually came out of the pandemic because of the situation where Mel had to start doing classes online, and he was able to, even though he was on the East Coast and I was on the West Coast, he was able to like reach out to me and say, hey, you want to help out? And like, we wouldn't have had that opportunity otherwise if everything wasn't online, connected online. So it's really kind of, you know, interesting how things have shifted a little bit in that way.
In a way, I feel like not in a way, in a big way, what Dan's doing, what we're doing here, what so many streamers are doing is putting the Lego fan community in a much better place socially and connected wise than we were before lockdown started. I feel you know, it's less insular to particular conventions and lugs and more like this, you know, big interconnected web, which I think is a huge positive.
I mean, for better or worse, I would rather not know about some of the like toxicity that's been rampant, you know, like that's sort of unavoidable. And I don't feel like I was as exposed to all of that pre-pandemic because I wasn't spending any of my like Lego time online so much. But I feel like I still experience more good than bad as a whole.
And that's what's, you know, being part of this community in particular, that's why it's so wonderful, is because we are a shimmering light. We're so upbeat, and while we keep it real and we don't, you know, necessarily shy away from the darkness that we're experiencing, we're an uplifting group, and we're not here to set post, as they call it, or be, you know, unnecessarily rude and whatnot. We're all about the joy that Lego brings in whatever way, even when we're talking about how it's being used to balance, you know, the upsetting things that are going on in our world.
Yeah, which again is why you can't focus on numbers, right? Because maybe the leaks and the toxicity are what get the numbers, but I just don't see how that's working for anyone, really.
Well, it's I mean, I will say, like, as somebody who creates content, you really do at a certain point only have so much mental capacity for social media and like how and what you can do on it, you know. Like, I go back and forth with Instagram. Is like, I used to be prolific on Instagram, and then as things kind of shifted over towards YouTube and to a small degree Twitch, then I found like trying to keep up with all the Instagram stuff was exhausting. It's just it's a lot. It's a lot.
A lot. That's a good way to put it. It's a lot, y'all.
Yeah, but we're still doing it, right? Like we're all
here.
still in it.
However many years later, how many decades it's been.
Yeah, I think it's well, and I think what Richard was saying was true. Like this really has, like before the pandemic, we knew the people in our lug and the people that went to Bricks by the Bay, and then we kind of started branching out and went to Bricks LA a couple times.
Yep.
And then of course Bricks Cascade, but that was a very different experience.
It was all geographic, right?
Yeah, it was all geographic. But now I feel like I've connected with, people from the future, Dan.
Although this is a completely different, social circle, I feel like, than like I have sort of my different networks, right? Like I have my online YouTube/Twitch network, but then I have like my convention network, and there's actually not a whole lot of overlap. Like they're kind of completely different vibes and different people in some regard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
For me, that's for sure, because I have no major convention to go to unless I drive over a mountain range, which I did. I'd love to do again, but oofta, there's like nothing in the middle of there's not a lot of stuff out here in the middle of the
Well,
US.
you should change that, Moto. Well,
I don't know. I looked at Corey
right,
Otley.
Dan?
I'm like, that guy's a beast. I don't know
Dan
how he does it.
Dan revolutionized a whole country over there. You can do it, Moto.
Yeah.
Yep. And essentially that's what it takes.
Carry.
It is, and sometimes it's a very thankless task. Not going to lie, but it's it's worth it when everything comes together, and you'd be surprised at how little a group can put on a pretty reasonable show. Like our first show that we put on. So when I first started the lug, I reached out via Facebook to a bunch of people, and there was sort of like 6 of us that started sort of meeting regularly and talking about Lego and sharing ideas, and then that evolved into a show. Excuse me.
So we do have something local. So this gets a bit controversial, but I'll speak my mind on it. So I'm at a convention, and some of the people are asking, what do you think about these expos, the for-profit expos that go around and they don't give the AFL community much back in return? And my simple answer was, I support BrickFest Live in Denver because it is the only pure Lego convention or exposition that comes through once a year for our entire region to participate. That's Colorado, Wyoming together, as well as some other spots. We get some virtual lugs of Star Wars teens down. We get Riley in, and it's the only purely Lego event that we have. It's like the only show in town. So that's why I support it, because in the end, if they weren't coming through and traveling around, there would not be this meetup of a multi-state, Colorado and some of southern Wyoming coming together, as well as some people coming up a little bit further south and down from the mountains. That's the biggest deal, is getting people down from the mountain range. So I know there's some groups that, don't appreciate or are quite honestly anti-BrickFest for certain reasons in the community. But, when I look at it, they are the only thing that will bring together a ton of AFOLs in one space at one time across a weekend, like a true AFOL recognized convention would.
Yeah.
So in the end,
that's why it exists, right? Is just
so
sort of fill that void.
But so in that regard, I support it and I enjoy it and I like being there because it also is one of the few highly publicized Lego events for the general public to come in and just focus solely on Lego and talk to AFOLs in a Lego context, apart from being an add-on to some other thing. So
well, I think Moto too, that with something like BrickFest Live, where they can, they're doing it for profit, they're paying people to to work there, whereas more local shows are completely volunteer run. Like, I don't know if a lot of people realize that, but
yeah, they are.
Stuff like Bricks by the Bay and Bricks Cascade and other, like, those are like people are volunteering their time to come and make those things happen, and it is an incredible amount of work goes
and we
into
work
all
on it
that.
all year long.
Yeah.
There's it goes so I mean, not every convention is going to be the same, and I think that there are, in my opinion, I feel like a lot of the not all, but a lot of the bigger AFOL run conventions are not very kid friendly. Like they don't now. Bricks by the Bay has a specific kids area where, and I love seeing what the
That's
kids
the
make.
exception is Bricks by the Bay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I feel like Brickfest Live type events are a little more geared towards kids.
Yeah.
So it's really about what you're, like what you're used to and what, like the reasons that you're going to something. And, if you want to, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong in making a profit off of your extremely hard work putting an event together.
Well, I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge an event or anything around Lego for having money associated with it. I think it's about the experience. I think it's about the people that come together. And let's be honest, Lego's not, Lego is a profit-making company, right? And they sell us bricks, and those bricks make us happy because what we do with it and what we do with other people.
Yeah, I think as long as you feel that there's value for the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, and I understand it's not for everyone in the community, but for someone who's kind of landlocked in the middle of, like you said, the middle of the United States, they go through Kansas. It's the only event in Kansas City. For Kansas City, they hit, Colorado Springs or Denver, and they're around. So, in the end, I look at it like at least people are getting together. At least we're able to meet multi-state.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, exactly.
Absolutely.
It's the only game in town, but
Yeah, like I lived, in fact, that's probably a big reason why I didn't get hugely into Lego until I moved to Portland, because I lived in the South. I grew up in Memphis, and then I lived in East Tennessee, and then I lived in Atlanta for a few years. And so I was well into my mid-20s before I moved to the West Coast. And even when I was going to college and, interested in Lego and buying Lego sets as an adult, I didn't know anybody else around me. Like I didn't hear of there being anything like a lug, and I was kind of, tapped into, AFOLs on Facebook and things like that. And I'd never heard anything about anything going on in those areas that I lived in. And then pretty much as soon as I moved to Portland, there was a Lego store here, there was a lug here, there was a convention here. And then it wasn't long before I was tapped into everything else going on along the West Coast. So yeah, there's definitely some dry spots.
I feel like you made up for lost time.
Yeah, I did.
But
me too.
Back to
I'd heard of Brick Fair, Virginia when I was in Maryland, but at that time, I couldn't imagine what the people going to something like that would be, and it didn't seem like it would be for me. But then when I came out to Portland and I heard of a Lego convention here, I was like open-minded enough to be like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go for that, and it changed my whole life for the better.
I pretty much had kids right away. I had my daughter. I was pretty young when I had my daughter, so I already had kids pretty much I had my first kid not long after I moved to Portland. So, I mean, she was probably 2 when I took her to the first Bricks Cascade. It's for the children, right?
Still is, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But I was a little bit more apprehensive about joining the lug. Everybody kind of gives me a hard time about how, toe dipping I was about the lug. I was really scared to go in there.
Well, I mean, that's not there are, there's no question that putting together a large group of people whose Venn diagram of interests meet basically around a hobby, there's always going to be you're going to get people from all over with different feelings about different things and different political beliefs and different religious beliefs and all of that. So there's it's a little bit of a it can be a little bit of a crapshoot, especially depending on where you are. I mean, I know when we first joined Bay Lug, even being here in the Bay, and as for living here as long as I have, I can't believe I didn't have those feelings. But like going into it, I was just like, oh God, I really hope us being gay isn't going to be an issue. Like, and I mean,
which it never was.
It never
for a
was
second.
ever for a second. But still, like, I still have that part of me that
You just never know, man. Fear of the unknown.
Well, I mean, from when I was growing up, you know, like when I was like in my teens, I still have that fear of like, am I going to be accepted in a public arena or like in a space like that?
And I think
it's just social anxiety in general for me. Like I'm always a little bit apprehensive, jumping into like an unknown environment. So that was a big one for me, is like just not knowing what type of people were going to be there, and if they were going to be, if they're going to be judgy or if they're going to be like total weirdos. Of course, yes, both, but so am I. So it works out.
To show you how much progress I made, I had lunch with the Lego vet yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And I gave her a car ride back to my place. And Blair, you've seen the garage has been heavily upgraded since you've been there, so it's like a next level up. But the Lego vet kind of, I took her through the space here and the washer and dryer right there. And she's like, oh, there's the washer and dryer that I used to sit in front of. Or, that's, and she's like, where'd that desk come from? Because she's been so busy. She hasn't had time to join the live stream, but she'll come back in a year or two. But yeah, to have someone like an AFOL that I recognized from Tricky Lug come to my physical place and go out in the garage and see the space. And she saw, the popping balloon, it's still hung up there. And she's like, oh, wow, that's really cool. And yeah, to actually hang out with a Tricky Lugger yesterday was really wild. That was an idea I never would have entertained. So you guys, I met you through online communities. That's how we met. That's how we've become friends. You and Boone as well, or Blair. You're right. These close friendships I have now, just because I never got anywhere. I was always in Denver. The virtual community kind of equalizes geography in a bit, as long as you're willing to participate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like for me being a relatively alternative lifestyle person, I couldn't imagine like what kind of people were going to be at the event. And I think that my fear was that it was going to be mostly older folks and like trained guys who I just couldn't jive with, thematically, mostly as like a sci-fi enthusiast. And then, when I did go to the convention out here, I realized that, like you were saying, Flynn, it brings so many different kinds of people together. And it's the one brick to rule them all, and in our dorkness bind us, right? Like it brings us together in a way that it's like a super hobby. There's I don't feel like there are other hobbies that necessarily bring such a diverse group of people together so well. That's the thing, right? Is that there's so much to be into when it comes to Lego, and to appreciate the way that other people approach the brick, what they do with it, and how that relates to the other parts of their life. It's amazing to connect with people on that level and get that clutch strength just from your shared intense, love for Lego. It's incredible. I mean, it's mind-blowing since the day I set foot in a convention hall. It's absolutely, it's genre bending, it's perception changing. It's like a whole paradigm shift, thinking about how much something that's so special to so many people from childhood into adulthood can bring them together on a common ground that allows you to have friendships with people you would never have met otherwise. It's like there are so many people that I'm just like, I would never have even crossed paths with you necessarily. And to have friendships come out of that, lifelong friendships, I mean, it's amazing. And Moto, you were talking about starting things up over there and how things start small, like you said, Dan. I mean, Bricks Cascade is born of just a few dudes setting up a tiny little show way back when in a mall, for like a weekend or whatever. And then and just letting the public come by and see stuff on some tables that they brought. And, it came and went through that phase for a while, and then it was Brickfest, and then it disappeared. And when it came back, I mean, it came back at just the right time, right as Lego has been taking off, and now it's soaring. It's one of the biggest events around. So
yeah, it would definitely be the easiest time to start something up. You know, there's the saturation for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not with the pandemic, but you know.
Well, post-pandemic though, people are going to be wanting that, you know, and then there are so many new Lego fans. People who have been building during the pandemic, people who have been exposed to Lego Masters. You know, you just get some of these cool folks to show up, and like the public will come. You know.
Yeah, we even had several new people at the Bricks Cascade picnic. You know, there were several people that just missed out on the last Bricks Cascade that have just been building the last year or so, and we just had a picnic just for AFOLs. It wasn't a big show; it was just a get together. Couple hundred people showed up, and there were several new people that were just like biting at the bit to get in on something. Yeah.
And some of those new people are already all-stars. Like that is phenomenal. So I mean, I can't wait to see what everyone's going to be bringing out next year.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually a little intimidated now because I feel like I'm lacking in comparison. You know, I'm kind of struggling with that actually, of like, you know, just everything, you know, like Lego used to be part of my routine. I had a very set routine of work and doing things with kids. And then I had my build time, which was usually kind of middle of the night building. And the whole pandemic thing just completely threw off my routine. And all of a sudden, like the very last thing I really wanted to do anymore was build, because I couldn't enjoy it. Like I couldn't enjoy anything. And so I didn't want to like taint it with like feeling obligated or forced in any way to like, okay, it's my build time, I got to build, you know, now that I have the time to do it, because every time I would try to do it, I was just like, ugh, you know, and I hated that feeling. So I'm kind of like, I've not really set it aside, but I'm really definitely trying to only do it when I can enjoy it. And those times are sort of fewer and far between. So now I'm like a little intimidated with the idea of conventions being around the corner and feeling that obligation again of like, oh, now I really need to build.
Yeah, the conventions I've been to, it kind of was interesting. There were several different types of ways that people treated the pandemic building. And, you know, one of it was kind of like you're saying, they're motivated by the convention. So some people I run into are like, oh, I finally had a reason to be building again. Mm-hmm. And they had stuff on display.
Yeah.
And then you had folks like me who went into atomic overdrive, and I brought out like tables of stuff, and it was crazy how, you know, I'd say I had 5 years worth of stuff, but about 30% of it was done in 1 year.
Yeah.
So that begs the question, Dan, when you were going to these 13 conventions, were you taking mocks with you, or were you just traveling and seeing things?
No, I participate as an exhibitor at every show that I go to. I don't take new mocks to every show. I'll take a mock to each show. So like it'll do the circuit, so to speak. The one mock or whatever it is that I'm doing that year, it'll do that circuit, and then that'll get biffed, and then I'll start another one for the following year or whatever. And sometimes I'll do a couple of small things in between. It would make a very good band name. Not going to lie.
Well, I'm curious, Dan. You mentioned that when you started, there were just a few people that you had gotten together. Did you find it almost seems to me like Lego is like a super saturated solution? You know, it was just waiting. The Lego community in New Zealand was just waiting for something magnetic that they could, you know, be drawn to. Were you surprised at how quickly people came out, or was it really like, hey, you all, like anyone?
It's so back then it wasn't as accepted, I guess, for AFOLs. You know, there was still that whole cliche of, you know, you're an adult that plays with kids' toys. Excuse me, what now? And so, because we're going back sort of 8 years or so before Lego Masters, before all of the things that popularized Lego, really. And so when I first reached out, I reached out to a handful of people. We came together. They knew a friend who had a friend who liked Lego, so that sort of started another one. Once we sort of started an online presence for the lug, a couple of other people sort of joined in after that. And when we did our first show, so there was 6 of us that were planning it. We got to 12 people and we thought, oh yeah, 12 people, that should be enough to do a show, right? Yeah. We're only doing it in a school hall, so it wasn't, thousands of square feet or anything. It was more like hundreds of square feet. And then by the time we got to the show, we had 29 exhibitors at this one little show, and one of them was a 5-year-old. Yeah. One of them, we got an application from a 5-year-old, and we're like,
So
what?
yeah or no?
Yeah. Let him come on. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. We don't know what to expect. So Tane, he came along with his parents, and he was actually a very talented young builder, I have to say. Now, Tane's parents were supporters at the first show, and now they are full-on AFOLs, build their own mocks. Tane's mum has a Bricklink store. Tane's still building. He's 12 now, I think. So 11 or 12, and he's still building. He's still into it. And one thing that I really hold on to and I'm looking forward to in the future, not that I want to wish time away, but I think now we have this ability to, to have kids and, the kids of AFOLs in the lug and have them come all the way through without going into a dark age. And I really hope that that's something that we can foster, because they can move on from whatever themes, if they're not interested in city anymore, they can move to 18 plus and then continue to develop their own building styles and mocks and all the rest of it. Mm-hmm. And I really genuinely hope that we can get kids through the whole thing without going into dark ages. That'll be fantastic.
Well, to kind of what I was saying before about the conventions, and I didn't mean to say that the conventions themselves weren't kid friendly. What I meant was that there are not opportunities for kids to display their builds. Right. And I think that's so important for making them feel like their stuff is just as good as everybody else's, or in some cases better than,
it's a really common question for parents to ask, like what opportunities there are like a Lego convention for their kids. And I don't think the Kid Fest type things they do are the same thing. Like the kids, when they go to the big AFOL conventions and they see all the stuff exhibited, they want to participate. Like maybe not necessarily. I can see where there's maybe not a place for them in the like playing the games, and there's always after dark events and things like that. Obviously, like you don't want kids around then. But I do kind of wish that there were more opportunities for kids to play games amongst themselves and to have the kids exhibitions. And I think Bricks by the Bay does do a little bit of that. But most conventions don't that I've been to. And I wish that there was more. I have my own kids, and I know I have one kid that has absolutely zero interest in any of it. And then I have one kid that like wants to do all of it, and he's 10. And there's really no, at least not at Bricks Cascade.
Really?
Yeah, Bricks Cascade has some things that are a highlight. Like June has always loved the Duplo pit, and then we have the activities that go on during the open hours, like the racing and stuff. But I think you're right. If we had, they just shouted Duplo. But if there was like a kids alley, kind of like how some of our local craft shows and Comic-Con has done, where I think that's a really good opportunity, especially since Dan, I've been going through that very same thing with my kiddo. Like it started off with June asleep in a harness on my chest while I'm trying to do like a game during one of the conventions years back. And now then, like in between then and now, they would stand out in front of my models and talk all about how they helped me build them. And they would like cut me off when I'm talking to the public and help show off all the features. And then last Bricks Cascade, we exhibited our first mock together. And I think you're right that we will be able to carry at least a good portion of the youth that are being, raised by us through this full circle and without falling into a dark age.
There is a slight difference though. So like yes, a lot of conventions, the public days do have kid-friendly events. What I'm talking about is the AFOL private days being open to kids to set up their displays for the public and get the reverse side of it.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what's rare.
Too.
So that's what BrickFest brings, and some of these others will bring that too. But that is a rare occurrence from what I've heard.
It is. And, I mean, just like we like to get together with all of our AFOL friends and just to hang out, the kids like to do that too. It's
definitely.
Community. And, that's definitely something that we foster at Bricks by the Bay. We have kid-specific workshops, kid-specific games, the K-Fall and T-Fall displays. And social events for kids.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to do that because Lego is all about kids in the end.
Yeah, I've tried to break the ice with that at Bricks Cascade. Being a Lego educator for the local library circuit, I would always have kids do some sort of collaborative thing, usually for space, since I'm space theme coordinator, the month before. And then I would bring all their builds that were sturdy enough to bring. And I would display them at the table, and definitely kids, not just the kids who built them being able to walk by and see their stuff on display, but the other kids of those ages and younger seeing other kids' stuff on display just raised to that level of, recognition, right? Being shown in that way really, lit their eyes up and brought their hearts and minds to feel like they're actually there with us, like they're represented in this crowd, that they aren't just little kids, they are builders just like the rest of us.
The main challenge, and I kind of get it, and I get why a lot of conventions aren't receptive to having kids around, is because generally I'd say maybe most of the AFOLs that do participate in AFOL conventions have kids. And sort of the flip side is that I know I look forward to being childless during those events. So it's like part of me wants an opportunity for my kids to participate and show off their stuff and hang out with other, Lego kids. But then the other part of me is like, but then I've got my kids in tow and I've got to supervise them, and then that pulls me away from all the adult activities. So we have to kind of figure that part of it out.
Sign me up. I'll be paid kid corral.
Awesome.
We need a few, but
I'll have to drop being a theme coordinator because then I'll have different cats to be herding. But
exactly. But
I heard what you do is Anita Stud will show up for the FOL days, and then Holly will show up for the public days.
There you go.
Well, there's something I really appreciate about Baylug, which is that was our, that's where we started, right? Is Bay Area Lego Users Group, is that they have some AFOL only meetings, and then you get to, then you can have whatever theme you want for your build that week, and then they also have exactly, and then they also have kid-friendly events as well, and build competitions that include all ages. And something that we do that's a little different than Baylug is Baylug has their build competitions and they separate it. There's, age maybe 7 and under, and then, 8 to 12, and then older. I don't know the exact ages. And something we've done a little bit differently on our show is when we have our slideshow at the end of the week, everyone, no matter what their age, no matter what their experience, is on the same level and gets the same level of review and the same level of respect for their work.
Yeah.
Which I think is really how exciting. I don't know. As a kid, when I was building, if I had submitted to a group and grown-ups who made these amazing things, took me seriously, how awesome is that?
Well, and I think it spurs them on to do even bigger and better things, right?
That's the idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I could just speak to it for a second. Back in the day,
time you want.
That's all good. Back in the day, so when I started Lug, the rules actually used to state that for a recognized Lego user group, they were for AFOLs and TFOLs, and they actually specified ages, and it was 16 plus for TFOLs and 18 plus for AFOLs, and it also specified that support for the R-Lug was for R-Lug members only, but and then it specified that R-Lug members could only be T-foals or A-foals of those age groups. So there was always these debates around whether we could allow children to be involved in stuff. And so what we did was we did it so that, to be within the rules, we did it so that the R-Lug support went to the T-foals and A-foals, and we would keep some money from the shows that we put on to support the lug, and the rest of it would be donated to charity. And we would use some of that money to buy product to be able to then give to the kids to support them. And they never knew where it came from, whether it was from the Lego group support or whether it was from the lug. They just knew that it came from the lug, and that's all that mattered. And that's how we were able to keep them all engaged and everyone on an equal level, so to speak, throughout 5 years of whatever. Lego, I think, have ditched that. I think that specific rule is gone, and now it's just members, your lug members. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on it. We could all check it. It's in the land somewhere.
I think lug bulk might be 18 plus.
Lug bulk's a different story, but I'm pretty sure that for membership of the lug, it's now stated that the support is for members, or for that lug to support its members. So over here in New Zealand, we don't have week-long conventions like you do in the States. I'd love to have a week-long convention. Imagine a whole week of just Lego immersion.
Well, they're 4 days.
Yeah, it's like even weekend plus an extra day is what it's 2
days.
Hey,
we have one 3-dayer, which is A-fold day Friday, and then 2 days to the public Saturday, Sunday.
That's the same. That's pretty much the same here.
Almost, yeah. And all the rest of the shows around the country are all just 2-day shows. So it'll be set up Friday and then Saturday, Sunday public. But all of the lugs here do involve kids in their shows. And to be honest, the further south you go, the more kids get involved. And I really like that culture of allowing the kids to be involved, because, like, I think it might have been Blair that said it, or Holly, they are the next generation, or it might have been actually in chat, they are the next generation of AFOLs. They're the ones that are going to take over these lugs. Because when you think about it, the whole lug idea hasn't really been around for that long. 10 years or so, 12 years or so. As far as, and even the land's been around for only 10 years, I think. And they're going to be the next group of people that are going to take over and look after these lugs and stuff going forward. So why would we exclude that?
Yeah. Oh, heck, some of these kids.
We have a news flash. Sorry to interrupt, but we do have somebody in the green room. I don't know how long he's been there. Hopefully not too long. But Randall's here.
Hey, Randall. What's going on? Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
Just in case y'all, heard Legos rumbling in the back if I was in the green room. That's why I was muted. Can you hear me?
No, yeah, we can hear you. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, there's a little private chat, and when you pop in, just you can just send a little message to private chat, because
absolutely
the way my screen is, it's sort of like the bottom few people are cut off, and I can't see people in the green room. Hi.
Yeah. How you doing?
Hi.
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just listening in. Hey, Dan. Very nice to meet you.
You too.
How late is it there? Has everybody asked you that?
Early.
It's early.
7:30 in the morning now.
Okay. Yeah, you better than me.
On
I'm
Monday.
not a morning person, so.
You've been on since 6 a.m.
Neither am I. But for these guys, anything.
Well, thanks, Dan. Well, I know you did some quite a few shows on Beyond the Brick Quarantine Cast as well. So that
was even earlier. That was
it's true. That was even earlier. But oh my goodness, that was
was sleeping.
Well, hey, so Randall, I know you're saying you've been listening in, so I know you've been to a lot of conventions lately, and I'm just curious, were there did you meet a lot of kids? Did you see any, were there anywhere there were actually kids displaying mocks, or how was that?
No, I was, as y'all were talking about it, I was thinking of that same thing, just the last few conventions that I've been to. And Brick Fair VA, I don't believe, had an area where kids could display. Neither did Brick World Detroit, but they both had, which I think y'all said, areas where kids could play.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I'm even thinking about back when I think I was around 13. And there was a Lego competition, I think, in a Stone Mountain Park, a park that was around where my parents live. And there was a competition, and kids brought stuff. I thought kids were going there to build something on site and then compete. But then, kids were bringing something back then, and it's not, I've not seen a lot of that since, but I think, I hear Holly's, hesitation as well with that. I get it, but I think it would be affirming to have kids there to display stuff. I would, because they know techniques and stuff too. Like it'd be cool just to trade notes.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to have like one day where we have like kids events and kid hangouts and things like that, and then like the rest of the weekends like for like kidless.
Well, I mean, that's how Bricks by the Bay splits up the time, right? Like most of the, the daytime hour stuff is, it's always the sort of like the pre-time that you can go in. And I mean, one of the things that I really loved about Bricks Cascade, and I know we've talked about this before, was like the quiet lights out time. Like that was so soothing because it can really be overwhelming, like the noise and the crowd and all of it, right? Like it can get really intense. And especially, I know Randall and Moto, you can understand this, like especially when you are constantly being engaged the entire time you are there. Like you don't get a break, right? Like you're on like the entire time. So it can be a lot. And when we did that lights out time,
nice and quiet,
and I just remember sitting by the Ewok Adventureland listening to that like bar piano version of the Yub Nub song, like while all the little, and I could hear the roller coaster going around on the track, and it was just really soothing. I would love to see more stuff like that, and more conventions have attention to some of the things like that and make them more, I don't know, there's inclusive, inclusive and accessible for different kinds of people, whether it be kids or people with disabilities or people who need for it to be quiet and a little dark and not quite so much.
We usually do have an early morning opening. So there's like an hour, I think, before public hours where there is access for people with special needs, sort of thing.
I want stores to have that. I want everything to offer quiet time.
Quiet time. I want life to offer that, really, like a quiet time.
It kind of has been.
Yeah, that lights out thing is actually, I'm sure I'm not the only one that made this suggestion, but it was something I brought back from having gone to Brick World Chicago a few years back, where they did that dark hour, where the lights out hour, so that you can see things lit up. When I came back from that convention, I told one of the guys on the board at Bricks Cascade that I was like, we have to steal that one. So I'm glad that we're doing that one now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Plus, people like me who like to put lights in their mocks get a chance to see them.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And the only thing that was kind of funny to me is that when I went to Brick World Chicago and they did the lights hour thing, I want to say that it was actually either coincided with or was after like some sort of like drinking event.
Yeah.
Poorly planned.
Well, what I really love is I always, when both at Bricks by the Bay and at Bricks LA, usually these there's another event going on at the same time in like another part of the convention hall or whatever.
You mean like the spooky monster makeup?
Yeah, there was like the makeup convention one time. It's just always it's always interesting to see.
Always like cheerleading events over here.
We get a dance competition. We get a lot of extra guests.
At Brick Slopes, there was a reptile convention.
Oh wow!
That was a heck of a mashup because people are like, "Are you here for the reptiles or for the Lego?"
Both,
awesome.
Both, I guess.
Right?
I don't know.
We had that one time when there was like a Pokemon finals competition or something going on too.
Oh, I missed that.
Crossover from that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a place where you would see a significant amount of crossover, I think.
I think we get more people when there's the big dance competition because you get a lot of people who are there just to see their one child perform. And then you get the brothers and the dads and everybody else who's like waiting for tons and tons of time. They're like, this is Lego
moms and the sisters and the grandmas.
Yeah.
I don't need to videotape everyone's kid. I'm gonna go look at some Lego for a while. I just said videotape.
Yeah, videotape.
Hey, I was just talking about VHS last night, dog. So I'm right there with you.
Yay! Hooray!
So in cleaning up my garage. Sorry,
we've had Jehovah's Witnesses in our convention hall at the same time, and it's kind of it's funny and sad to watch the kids.
Yeah, all dressed up with their like
their whole church thing, and they're like Lego.
Yeah. Well, the Lego convention was very casual, and the Jehovah's Witnesses was very well dressed, very well dressed.
Oh yes, church clothes. Totally.
I'm not joking. The kids had briefcases.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Well, now it's not important, but like in cleaning out the garage, I found not one but two actual like mini TV camcorders.
Oh, camcorders. Oh, by the way, my mom's here. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
I'm gonna see. Like, I don't know. I don't think we're gonna do a Sunday show while we're gone in Baltimore. But if we do, I will try and get my mom on.
Oh, yay.
Camera. We'll see if I can't get her on.
Yes. She's sitting there shaking her head right now. I can tell.
SMH.
So you, where have you? So what has your recent roster of places to be been, Randall? You've been kind of like all over the place.
Oh man. Well, if I start in July, I was at Brick Fair VA. Then I was in. I went to the Somerset Collection Mall around in Michigan somewhere, and did a meet and greet at the Lego store, and then I was just at Brick World Detroit weekend before this, and yeah, I think that's really it. And then I'm going to be at Brick World Milwaukee in a couple weeks.
No, you were in Utah for the finale as well.
Oh Lord, see, I know I forgot something. Yeah,
I know where you've been more than you know where you've been. That's how bad.
Yeah, I was in Utah for finale watch party. That was cool to see everybody again, and go to Bricks and Minifigs and meet all the kids. Honestly, like that's some of the best stuff to see that. Just see what they built. They'll show you that, or they'll like, oh, that's right. And I was in Atlanta for Atlanta Brick Company with Mark and Steven.
See,
wow,
all over the place.
Yeah, he's a jet setter, man.
I'm doing too much. But that aligned with me going home anyway. So I was just like, yeah, I'll come through and say hey.
And you were in Mexico, not for the brick, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, and then you were in Cabo.
I was in Cancun.
Oh, Cancun. Sorry.
Now you're making me sound narcissistic. No, I was on vacation and still decided to call in and say hey to everybody.
You did, which was awesome. I love that you were practically poolside.
Almost. I could have went and had the pina colada right here, but this is a kid's show. So,
you know what's in it. Come on.
Oh my goodness. Well, I am very looking forward to going back to conventions. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know like how many we're going to be able to actually like afford to go to, because we've got Billund coming up next year, and that's kind of our big sort of pie in the sky thing. What was that?
When is that?
That's in
September.
It was last
September. Yeah, September next year. So,
are you going to Scareback?
Randall, it's on the Google Drive.
Okay, it's in the drive. Yeah, that's the answer to everything. It's in the drive.
Dude, it's in the drive, man. I made
have you been, Dan?
No, I was meant to go to. I was actually booked to go to Scareback in 2019, but then the whole mental breakdown thing happened, and I stopped working, and that got canned. But the people that I'd planned to go with still went, and they had a great time. So I lived vicariously through them.
I was there in 2019. Who were you supposed to go with?
So it was Jason and Rachel DeVries.
Okay.
Jay Horn and Jim Long all went. So it was Jay and his son Christopher.
Let's meet up next year. We're going.
Yeah, well, there's gonna be a bunch of us going next year, Dan.
Yeah.
If you feel like, if you're feeling up to it.
Ooh.
We've got our cabin.
We'll be showing our work at the in the Masterpiece Gallery at Lego House.
Oh yeah,
and then,
nice.
And then Scareback. Yeah, so it's going to be quite quite the event.
Well, hopefully New Zealand will let people out of the country by then. So
that's what we're hoping to.
Yeah.
Well, we've
Yeah,
kind of
are
been
you-
stuck here for 18 months. You're not allowed to leave. You can't leave.
Are you in restrictions right now? Like local restrictions?
Yeah, there's not too bad at the
International, they shut
moment.
the borders at one point. So
Yeah, well, we've been shut. Our borders have been shut for 18 months. So
Oh my
you're only allowed to travel out of the country if it's for business, and then when you come back, you've got to do 2 weeks of managed isolation quarantine that you pay for yourself now. But the restrictions for us at the moment where I live are reasonably minimal. You have to wear a mask if you're going into a shop or a public space, like a supermarket and that sort of thing. It's all mandated. Gatherings, you're a maximum of 100 people at a gathering. So sporting
have Lego
events and
stores?
things like that.
Oh,
We only have one Lego store, and it's in Auckland. It's like about a 9-hour drive away from me. So,
Oh, 9 hours. I didn't know New Zealand was 9 hours long.
well,
it's mountainous.
probably about a 12 or 14 to the very top of the country, and then you fall off the end. And then if I was to go south, there'd be a 3-hour boat ride, and then probably another 12 to 14 hours of drive time, and I could fall off the bottom. So. you can pretty much get the length of the country in a day and a half if you really want to.
I've been thinking of, and maybe someone will do their doctoral thesis on this, but I've been thinking of the pick a brick wall as a barometer for social freedoms. Just like, where are we? Where are we at in the at the pandemic?
Yeah.
They're picking it for you. It's a free for all.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
I assembled a build a minifig pack for someone for the first time yesterday. It's really great.
Oh,
Yay. Ours in Colorado, they've taken away all the tools in the hand sanitizer, and you can reach in now and fill your own cup if you want.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not there.
That's where we're at.
Oh, I'm not ready for that.
See what I
yet.
mean? It's a barometer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fig, you can do your own figs. It's completely open now.
Now
It's
I want
yours.
permanent. I want permanent like hand sanitizer and tongs from
Honestly,
here
true.
on out,
Absolutely.
pandemic or not. I just want that to be a always thing.
It's actually probably good for the preservation of the quality of the brick.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I may wear a mask all the time from here on out. I don't know. I kind of like it.
Well, I
I
wear
agree.
a mask and gloves when I mock at home now. I just sit at the table, mask and gloves.
Yeah.
Mm.
No,
And bricks and
I don't.
minifigs of all places, please. Like bricks and minifigs. Always a mask, always tongs, always gloves, and hand sanitizer.
It's like going to the Goodwill bins.
Yeah.
Yes. You never know, you might accidentally touch a really sharp Mega Bloks piece or something in there.
Well,
Yeah.
friends,
Oh, Moto, you're broken.
you're roboting.
You're roboting. Can you hear me now?
No, poke. So we are towards the end of our show today, but before we go, it is favorite minifigure time. Do you have a minifigure to share? If so, you may do so, and I will give you the big screen. Don't be surprised, Dan. I have to say, it always makes me laugh whenever people that I know are completely used to doing their own shows, and then they get surprised when they get put on the big screen. Like, you've seen yourself on the big screen before. This should not be a surprise. But, however, we
always a
will
learning.
go around, starting with Kara.
So I have a custom minifig. I can't remember the group that I got it from, but it's Castiel from Supernatural.
It's whom?
Castiel from Supernatural.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. Custom.
I kind of remember that. I've only watched a few episodes, I have to admit.
Oh, I've watched all of it at least once.
Oh
Just
dear.
like spooky, little bit older Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, man.
Okay, Holly.
Well, I usually have a cooler one within reach, but today I guess you guys get my sig fig, which I don't think anybody actually ever gets to see because this is not what I usually use as my actual sig fig. But this is the best I could do for a sig fig.
That's
It's
great.
not bad.
It won't focus. There we go. So yeah, the hair is. We're never gonna find my hair, but that's close, I guess. I just don't know why they
She
all
has
have
like a
bangs.
moon pan.
Yes, I love that shirt.
Yeah, I do like the shirt. The shirt's perfect, especially
From
for
the
this time
Build
of
a
year.
Minifig wall, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's October. I thought that one was appropriate.
Moto.
Yes, hello. I don't know what this is, so I could use help from the chat.
Oh, I have like a bunch of those.
Oh, that's from
Those
It's a
flexible
CMF.
minifigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
I
remember
just
what
pulled
they
that
called
one
her.
out.
What is it? Because I don't know what it is.
I can't remember what they called her. Something goddess or no?
No, that's a different one. This is
Yeah.
like Golden Warrior or something like
Yeah,
that.
some kind of warrior.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like kind of Thor-ish, kind of.
It wasn't Aztec because that's a different one too.
No, that's a totally different one.
Whoever it is has like a 12
It's
pack.
more like an
Mhm.
Apollonian warrior kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So is it a collectible minifig? Because I don't
Yes,
know. My son
that's a
just
CMF.
like
Yeah, it was a CMF.
yeah, my
it
son
is. It was a
just-
CMF because that was one of the very first ones that we got as a CMF. I did one of my very first like little vignette mocks using that one.
Awfully mythological for you, Randall. I'm just
Hey,
saying.
it was the gold.
Hey, at least it's
I
not.
was a sucker for that.
At least it's not a centaur.
At least it's not a thank you.
We can make it a centaur.
No, we will not.
No, let's
No, we
let's,
cannot. We will not.
let's be nice now, kids. Who's next? Dan, you got a favorite minifig nearby?
Hang on, I'm just putting the centaur away.
Oh,
No, I do. I do have one, and it's not a centaur. So, first time here, this is my all-time favorite fig. It
Oh, wow.
is Aragorn in
Yes.
his kingly armor from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So
that's
that's always been my most favorite of favorites. And I've got him tattooed on my arm now.
wow.
God, how can I do this?
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
So is it just the character then? Because I don't think that's
down there
like
somewhere.
it's not the most. It's not the most like unique figure from Lord of the Rings. So is it you just like that character?
I've always loved Aragorn. He's my
Okay.
favorite character.
Yeah.
But I just love this one because he's in his kingly armor. And
Okay.
I do like the prints on it because it's got the shiny gold and the shiny silver, as well as all the base colors as well. So I just thought it was a pretty decently decorated minifigure as well.
I think it might be my Christopher Lee figure is probably my favorite, which was from Tower of Orthonk too. That figure is one of my favorite Lord of the Rings, and just because it's Christopher Lee, like
yeah,
that's
for
cool.
sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Blair, do you have something with you? Probably. Or, yes.
Oh
no?
yeah, I brought stuff.
Oh.
So
All right.
aside from making the best me working at the Lego
Nice.
store that
Nice.
I can, unfortunately the old apron minifigs are like hundreds of dollars and super rare. So those are unobtainable at this point. But working there and unloading the 6 pallets of launch day product that we got for my very first day working there,
Oh my
I
goodness.
hadn't seen that many boxes labeled toys since I worked for this guy. So it was
Nice.
kind of a nice recall to my old days of slinging toys for the giraffe who no longer persists across the United States in any way, shape, or form at this moment.
that's so
It was like
sad.
Jeffrey Cookie time.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
Feels good
sorry.
to be back.
All right. Who still hasn't gone? Randall.
Yes. I'm just going off of what I have on my desk right now. So when I went to Brick Fair VA, I don't think I showed this one. But this was part of the ones that I bought along with the like the toy soldier and like the ringleader. It's like this gangster minifig. Because this is going to be part of a mock that I have been working on for 5 years, and I'm going to try to finish it for Brick World Chicago. Wow, now that I think about it, appropriately named, because I'm making a mock around this, which is Smooth Criminal.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So I got giving you 2 because this is the main one.
That's a
And-
custom one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a custom one, and you can kind of
Okay.
see it like right there. That's what I'm gonna finish.
Sweet.
Oh, right
Yeah,
on.
it's the music video set. So,
Oh, very nice.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Is it us now?
I think so.
Did everybody else go?
I think so.
Okay. It's us now. All right. And let me get Clicky on the job here.
Let's see.
I think he's ready. All right.
Let's see if you can help me out here. I think I got her recently, but I can't remember what she's from.
She's a CMF.
She's a CMF, right in her coral baseball
shirt.
cap.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
shirt is wow.
And she's got space patches on her pants.
And she came with a rocket.
Yeah,
and
come with a little rocket.
really cool tile. Like a really, really
Yep.
cool tile.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a blueprint tile. I think probably
Yep.
this
Oh,
series
that's where that came
19,
from.
18, 19 maybe.
And then I've got from Lego Elves, Beeblin. That's his name. Beeblin the Goblin.
He's a
Man, for half
bard.
a second, I thought that was a print, and I got really excited, and I was like, it's a sticker.
Right.
It's a really good sticker. I love that one. But
with like an elves utility belt.
yeah. Pretty cool. I love those little goblins. Those are some of my favorite pieces. I think we have all of them at this point.
I think so.
Oh my goodness. So, yeah. And by the way, I feel for you, Blair, because I know how many new sets came out yesterday. Like that is bonkers. I can't even imagine that you had to unpack all.
And
of
we
those.
sold a lot of it very, very quickly. I mean, Santa's sleigh went faster than Santa on his sleigh. And then the other holiday stuff was gone by end of day yesterday, except for a couple advent calendars.
Wow,
Spider-Man
really?
stuff. All the bigger Spider-Man stuff was like pretty fast. The guitars are selling really well. I will say we got a lot of Queer Eye sets though. So if anybody's looking for one, the Washington Square Mall store has a whole bunch, and we would love to get them to you because they're fantastic.
Yeah, I'm curious. How did that one do?
It was not. I mean, it was not getting really sought after. I'm sure it will sell as people who are a fan of the show start to find out that it's out there. I think that, I saw on Instagram some of the cast was making posts about it and stuff like that. So now that it's out and available, we'll probably start to get a bunch more fans coming in looking for it. But most of the launch day stuff that people were after were the holiday things and the new superheroes stuff.
That's a lot of competition for a niche set.
Yeah,
to have.
I was gonna go for the Disney Castle, but my lug posted it was gone within an hour or two.
Oh, it's so good.
It got blown
it's
away.
so
It got
so
gutted
good.
so quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it's so
It is.
good.
Nice flick.
That one is
Nice
very
flick.
popular too. Yeah, it's like a great attainable size and a good desk ornament for people.
Yeah,
sure.
and some of those pieces are on Bricks and Pieces too. They're a little silly in price, but if there's just like a few unique parts you're looking
for me, it's gonna be cheaper just to grab the entire set.
Because that blue is like a sparkly blue, right?
Yeah,
On the-
if you can get the
opalescent
set.
blue.
Yeah.
All of these. So all of these turrets.
Yeah.
And these smaller cones are all that like opalescent blue color.
Yeah.
And
Now, is that retail or is it Lego store only?
I think it's. I actually, you know what? I don't know.
I don't know. I've only seen it.
And it's
on
got
Lego
that
Store.
amazing tile.
Yep.
I can already see what Moto is gonna do with. some
Yeah,
of these pieces.
Randall knows where
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that.
But like the gold ski poles are pretty cheap, so you can get a bunch of those on Bricks and Pieces. Like some of those little like ornamental detail pieces were available on Bricks and Pieces, and I did get a few of those. But then
Cones,
some of
dishes, ski poles,
the
all
dishes were
all
kind
in, all in
silly.
metallics and bright
Expensive.
colors, dude. I'm just there.
Exactly.
The
I'm like, I've seen this
dishes were
before.
Yeah,
I feel
Randall's
like
seen this before.
Moto's universe just got a little more opalescent.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to see how some of the more niche sets are going to go this holiday season. Like I know the
Sorry, Joel's comment. The reindeer battle packs.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
the Queer Eye sets, and then I think I'm curious. I don't know. So the last couple of Marvel movies, the sets have come out, I feel, way too far in advance of the movie. And then they were gone and people forgot about them. Like the Shang-Chi sets, there was some really cool stuff, but they came out like 6 months or more before the movie came out, and nobody knew. And I feel a little bit like that with the Eternals. Like there's that stuff is coming out, and movie's not out yet.
Yeah, they're not selling super fast. They've got some amazing parts. That little set that looks like Anubis from Zone of the Enders, that little set is great. It's full of mixel joints. You get a ton of gold clips and that new like opalescent spike piece. That's a fantastic set to do like a re-brick of or something. But yeah, I don't think that people are hyped about Eternals yet.
I did notice that the
I hate to interrupt. I hate to interrupt, but we've got to get going if we want to get you and get some lunch. So
okay.
Bye, everyone.
Cara. Bye.
Yeah, the Shang-Chi sets are absolutely off the racks in Target and Walmart right now.
Yeah, because nobody bought them because nobody knew what it was, and now
they I mean, they got once the movie came out, then they got cratered out pretty heavily in the retail space.
I see what you're saying. I see. Well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
so
good.
It wasn't like it's kind of odd in that it's not like a day one purchase, but from the retail perspective, once the movie lands and people are excited about it, like Shang-Chi, then all of a sudden I went through the Target and it was like there was maybe one left. That was it.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's how it goes.
I need to get reindeer armor.
I wonder. So Blair, I would be curious to see how Monkey Kid tracks these days now that Monkey Kid's finally coming available.
Have you guys watched it?
I haven't seen it yet. I just saw that it was a thing.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's like it is. I can't get through more than a couple episodes at a time because it's sensory overload for me. It's too much. Like it's so crazy busy.
Yeah, my son is like, "This is totally anime, Dad."
It's actually like my 10-year-old has ADHD and it's too much for him even.
Yeah,
wow.
It is.
It's a lot.
It's bonkers, but it is straight up like Akira level Lego. That's how I describe it.
Wow.
It's almost like Redline. It's almost like Redline level. There's just some parts of it where I was like, what is happening?
I can't believe how much happens just like in the first episode. You know, like there's just so much going on in each episode. It's like,
Well, before we go, and we're almost at 2 hours here. Yep. Sorry, everybody. It's been a fun 2 hours. I was curious, Dan, something I meant to ask you earlier. Now I think I was off camera when Richard asked about Lego stores in New Zealand. Was that a yes or no? Didn't they just recently?
Just one in Auckland. And so I'm in Wellington and that's a 9-hour drive for me.
Okay. Oh, wow. So I'm just curious, how is the availability of Lego? Like, I feel like I know that people here in the U.S. complained bitterly when we got sets like a couple of months after the EU did, like a few months ago, the waves. What is that like where you are? Like, how long after something you hear is like announced coming out in the U.S. or in Europe before it gets to you?
It's pretty good. It's even better now that we have a Lego store. So pre-Lego store, we were about 3 months behind the online Lego store into our general retail. So we have two major toy brand or toy companies. We've got a Toy Co and a Toy World. They sell pretty much everything from from the range, including all the limited distribution stuff. And they tend to run now. Some of it they get on release, and some of it is sort of 3 months later. The Lego store obviously has everything on release day, and because we're in the future, technically we're the first ever to get it.
Yes,
just too far away from me, so that's no good. And then we have other big box stores that run the vast majority of the range, usually not as much limited distribution. So availability is usually pretty good if you're willing to wait. If you're a day one purchaser, then you have to order it online or get it from the Lego store. But if you're willing to wait, the best part about it is because these are all general retail stores, they're all competing with each other. So there's always discounts. One of our big box stores runs their mainline Lego at 15% cheaper than retail than everybody else, just as a loss leader to get people through the store.
Oh, wow.
And so anything just standard off the shelf stuff, that's where I shop because it's just an instant 10 to 15% cheaper.
Well, that must be why New Zealand is locked down, is to prevent Lego tourism.
Pretty much.
Everyone would go there
Yeah.
and get all the sets.
Pretty much. It does become a little bit feral sometimes around release. It does. With the Lego store in Auckland, people are going in there and literally taking entire families and going and changing clothes and going back multiple times to buy off the shelf, to clean the shelf off, to get all the gift with purchases, and then sell them on the aftermarket. Because that is the only place that you can get them in hand on day one.
Oh god.
So the Lego store are trying to combat that kind of behavior, doing the best they can. And so those are basically our options as far as trying to get stuff early is concerned. So again, without being an RLFM, there's no way that I would be able to get sets early enough to create content that would be moderately watchable by, because the minute somebody puts content up, the smaller content creators like ourselves don't really get a shoe in. But if you're up there early enough, sometimes you can get a little bit of a viewership from that new stuff. So yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, they changed clothes. Sorry, Joel. They changed clothes because technically you're only allowed to buy things once. So they go out and change clothes in an attempt to. Yeah, no, it is insane. But people are they're almost making a job out of it. Yeah,
that is work, to be fair. Like, part of me is like, if you're willing to go to those lengths, then like,
Dan, you could retrain your dog to catch double dipping AFOLs.
Probably could. Yeah, sniff them on the way in and see if they've got any Lego. Actually, I think that's a missed opportunity. Maybe I should have been checking people as they left my room.
Yeah.
My Lego space was the pick-a-brick wall for our lug for a long time. So
nice.
Essentially, it still is. I still have people come and borrow stuff all the time. So
wow.
And when I mean borrow, they never give it back.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, friends, I wanted to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out with us today. Dan, thanks for getting up so early to come and hang out with us.
Thanks for the invite. It's been awesome.
Absolutely. Had a great time. Thanks, Randall, for coming. I hope you weren't relegated to the green room for too long.
No, it was great listening.
Awesome. And thank you, Holly and Moto and Blair for live from, I think, is that like, no, you're not at home though, right? You're at Jill's work. Oh, he's nodding. Okay. Yes, that's what's happening. So, excuse me. Well, friends, we will be back. I'll be back on Tuesday on Twitch. We will be next Friday here on the show, having a build stream of some kind. We'll pick something fun. And
probably
then, of
Lego.
course, probably Lego. And, of course, next Sunday here for another fantastic group chat. Oh, yeah, I made a fun little – I fired up a 3D printer and made a fun little coffin lockbox for Halloween.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So check it out. You turn this like it's like that, and then you twist this to the side, and these little things pop out, and the lid comes off, and it's all 3D printed. There's the little locking mechanism.
That's
wow.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
That's
So
nice.
Put your secret spooky treasures in it.
that's right. This was my test one. I'm doing another one in the appropriate color of black now, with maybe a different colored lid. We'll see, but that's been a fun little Halloween project. This is when, like, the holiday season is when people who do 3D printing like really shine, because then it's like gifts for everyone. You can make really cool stuff for people.
You know what we need, right? We need the razor accessories over here.
Yes, we do need I need to print out my that's for a Halloween costume for Holly's kid. Razor is a character from Genshin Impact. No one is dressing up like a Razor for Halloween.
I don't know.
He's not around here.
Although
Have you ever-
quite sharp.
Have you ever printed upscale Lego pieces?
I have right there. I have done these Lego crystals in several different colors. I've done gold, silver, and transparent red.
Nice.
And then this yellow because it looks like a French fry. Sorry, my lights make it look not as cool as it actually is. But
yeah, our friend Jeff has done a lot. He's made frogs, and all kinds of stuff.
And then we have a friend in our lug who did the big flowers.
Yeah, that's. I want to get a. I'm going to get I'm going to get a 3D printer in the near future, and that's what I intend on doing. Is just printing upscale Lego stuff to use as props and
we have
maybe flick off
we have
around
a
the
Discord
community.
channel for that. If you
really?
It's really fun. It's just a long process.
Yeah.
I always get intimidated by the length of some of the prints, but it's fun. I enjoy it. And then you have a thing when it's done, like a cool thing.
Sweet. I think we'll have to carry on this conversation offline because otherwise we're going to be here for another 2 hours.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll pipe down
thanks again, everybody, for joining us today. And don't forget, until we see you next time. And by the way, links to everybody's socials are in the description of this video. You can always go down there and find out where you can find people. Make sure and go check out Dan on Twitch. And everybody else where they are, where you can find them on your social media near you, everybody. So until next time, don't forget to stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, wear your mask, get that vaccine as soon as you can, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Happy building.
Bye.
Bye.